This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers, and we've got education about cars. We encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. 411-923 if you're shy, but don't hesitate to give us a call. Today on the roadmap, fact or fiction. We're still trying to think of one. We're taking your texts, of course. And how do you receive bad auto service? And this comes right out of a story I got here this week that I think I see on a regular basis, but I never thought it was a real good show topic. But yeah, you know what? It's time to talk about it because this happens every week. I got this lady standing in front of me, and she needs to get her car fixed, and she can't describe to me what the heck is going on. So, and her English was broken, so I'm like, let's just go for a drive so I can see what the heck you're talking about. And so I'm going for a drive for this lady, and she goes, do you feel that the car like wants to run away? You know, and it's kind of hoppy like a kangaroo. And are
you serious? Kangaroo?
Kangaroo.
Wow.
So we're driving it around, and I immediately can tell it's got a very high idle. And I said, she said, I just left another shop. And I went in for this, and they sold me new brakes. And they said not to worry about my transmission. This lady lived at 15th Avenue in Bethany Home. She's all the way down in Tempe to get her transmission looked at. And within a 3-mile trip around the block, I can tell it's got nothing to do with the transmission and everything to do with the high idle.
Well, but I'm curious, though, Dave, how did she think she had a bad transmission? Is that because the people that did the brakes said, well, now that the brakes are done, go to the transmission shop or what?
No, well, she went in there for this car running away problem, and they sold her brakes. And she was more concerned about the car running away, the kangaroo thing, but she got brakes. And they told her not to worry about that. So I don't know how she found me. She talked to somebody else, and they said, well, that sounds like a transmission problem because transmissions we all know is kangaroos. and so now
It hops like a kangaroo? Yes, mate. That is a
transmission problem. So now she's at my shop, so I know what's going on, and I said, okay, I'm pretty sure, well, you might have very well needed brakes, but it's not going to take care of your kangaroo symptom. Let me call my friend Matt at Virginia Auto and see what he has to say, because she was over on his side of town. So we made her an appointment. She went all the way over there and to get her real problem fixed. But my problem with this business is that you go to a shop, you're going to have 3 C's, really 4 if you want. But you have a concern, okay? The next C, that's the first C, is a concern. The next thing that's going to happen as a C is you're going to give the concern to the shop, and the shop is going to give you a cause. So they're going to look into your concern. They're going to find a cause or diagnose your concern. And then they're going to offer you a correction. And then once they've offered you a correction and you approve the work and they fix it, well, now there's got to be a confirmation that it took care of your original concern. And if it didn't, auto repair has just been done wrong. We were not successful. So that's what you're trying to get handled. And this lady went in with a concern, and she got a repair, never got her cause, and never got a confirmation. So she made it to 3 auto shops in one day. She had a long day. By the time she was at Virginia Auto at 5:30.
And now we fixed it, and she probably needed brakes because the damn thing was stuck on 2,400 RPMs. She'll wear them out. I mean, they told her don't worry about it because, heck, they'll make a lot of money doing a brake job every 6 weeks on her
over
car,
and
right?
over and over again.
It was stuck. So, yeah, ultimately the car had the throttle cable was bad.
So she needed a throttle cable. She didn't need a transmission.
No.
And she didn't necessarily need brake jobs.
Well, she may have needed brakes, but that didn't solve her problem. And you sure as heck bet that it's a good thing she didn't just, don't worry about it.
Right.
Because that throttle was stuck.
And I hate the, don't worry about that. That's normal. I've got the guy that does the website for Bumper to Bumper Radio, Dave Ross. He's got a guy at his dealership that he's literally known for 15 years, and they've got a great relationship. And he's asked me if I want to fix his car. I say, no, you guys get along. You guys have known each other. Stick with him. And so he was in there getting some service work done, and one of his complaints was a little chirp in the morning. The bell, chirp, 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 chirp. And everyone's heard that chirp. And he said, oh, don't worry about that. I hate the don't worry about that. If it's making noise, something is wrong. If it smells bad, something is wrong. And in this case, don't worry about that. Well, we fix brakes, so we're going to sell you brakes, but we don't fix transmission, so we're not going to take care of your transmission. But we'll take care of your brakes. And, whether she needed brakes or not. So as you're the consumer and you want to have good auto service, just remember your C's. What is my concern? And when they call you back and say, here's what we're going to do to fix your concern, if it doesn't seem to fit your concern, you just need to ask more questions, because maybe in the end, I've called somebody and I said, here's what you said and here's what we're finding. And they said, that doesn't match at all. Okay, let me tell you why it doesn't match, because they asked more questions. That's all. Ask more questions. Make sure you understand what's happening. So when I leave here, my car is no longer going to act like a kangaroo. Well, no. In what it is, if that lady would have needed a transmission, and the value of that vehicle was probably a little less than the cost of a transmission,
yeah.
If she really had needed a transmission, she wouldn't have spent $400 on brakes. Because I got a car that has a bad transmission that I'm not going to fix. Why did I waste $400 on brakes? I should have donated it to charity. So my point is, it's got to fix what you're looking for. So go with your concern. If you've got a massive head wound and you're worried about a scrape on your wrist, the shop should be telling you that.
Yeah. Don't. And now that we've gone on our rants, Dave, I guess it's my turn, because I got one this week too, where, last week we talked about coupons, and I think we talked about useless coupons.
Yes.
It's seasonal things, and this one is air conditioning service. We're going to use a coupon to draw you in a little bit. I shouldn't say it like that, because it makes it sound bad. Just a coupon. We want to introduce ourselves to you. Well, these particular coupons come from a chain, not a franchise, but let's just call it a locally owned. Maybe they have 8 stores, 15 stores. They have a lot of places, okay? $29 to check the AC, okay? So that's a useless coupon. It's useless. They're not doing anything. We're going to do a performance test. That's put your hand up in front of the vent.
Yeah, it's cold.
Throw a thermometer in it maybe and take a look. If it seems pretty good or it looks low. So this woman calls me. She's been in, got her $29 special, and she's concerned about the price of $1,500 because she needs a new compressor. So I start talking with her, and normally we don't do pricing because we can't be accurate, but she said her car was in another shop right now, and this is what they're telling her. So I take it. I'd like to do that because I get information so we can talk about it.
Right. Something to pass along to you guys.
Something, yeah. So I said, well, tell me why you went in. Well, my air conditioning sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's not. Okay, well, that doesn't sound right. Something's,
it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. So the cheap coupon was, we're going to check for leaks. So they found a compressor that was leaking and said, the compressor's leaking and it'll be $1,500. Well, she was concerned, like I said, that of the price. And the price was the appropriate price for that car if, capital I, capital F, if it needed a compressor. Well, so we start talking some more, and I'm saying, they want to replace the whole system, which is normal without getting into all the great details, but sometimes you don't have to. So I want to know how the compressor failed. Tell me more. So she had to call back and then call me back. And it turns out that after she starts to object to this $1,500 repair and wants to know what happened to the compressor, it turns out that the compressor just has a leak. And after going back and forth with me again, so well, if it doesn't have a leak, if it only has a leak, we really don't need to do the condenser and all this other stuff. We can probably replace just the condenser. So she goes, or just the compressor. Long story shorter, she goes back to them, and when she starts to object some more, now they come up with this $150 alternative, which is just to go ahead and recharge the system and see how it works. That's my point. Now, a shop like me, that's what we do. We get people that call us and we say an air conditioning service is about $150 for the refrigerant. Oh, my God, that is rip-off. I can go get it for $29. How dare you? Well, for $29, they looked and they said, yeah, it's got a leaking compressor. You need a new one. They didn't check. They didn't hook up gauges. They didn't know how much refrigerant was in it. They didn't know anything. They just knew it had a leak, and it was $1,500.
Yep.
I kind of wish she would have said yes and had him fix it, because the lady was smart. She took the car out of that shop, went to a friend's shop, or a shop that her brother goes to, and it had a bad power module that controls the compressor.
You can find a leak on any AC system if you look close enough. Maybe it's not really an active leak, or it's a very, very, very slow permeation, which is tolerable for the system, but that's not taking care of a real problem, which is this relay thing.
Yeah, and they knew nothing about this system. They didn't know if it was low. They knew nothing. They just were offering up. If she would have bought it, they'd be happier than heck to just sell it to her. And it wasn't doing a thing for her.
602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Maybe we struck a nerve with some bad auto repair service you've had here lately, or maybe you want to talk about a repair you're considering and why and what questions you should be asking. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
My pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio, here along with my sometimes friend Matt Allen. And we're here taking your calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We are also taking your texts at 411-923, and Matt's jumping up and down like a kangaroo. He wants to pass some information to you about your hybrid or your alternative fuel vehicles. What's going on, Matt?
Well, not necessarily the vehicle, but if there was one license plate, there's all these custom plates we can get, and I see people with the Farm Bureau plate. Now it's black because it looks good on a black car, and the child abuse and all the other plates. The one that I would pay dearly for, and I know a lot of people would, is the alternative fuel license plate. That is a fast ticket to the fast lane, the HOV lane. And so recently, the ADOT has released about 1,800 additional license plates.
They are going fast.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So I think if you already because at one point they ran out. So there were people with hybrid vehicles that couldn't get the plate, therefore they couldn't get the HOV lane, which is nice. And I know people that commute far, and they love to have those. So it looks like the state, on the ADOT website, there's 587 of the 1,800 available have been used. So if you're in the market for a car like a BMW i3, a Cadillac electric ELR, the one I'd like to sign up for is the Porsche Panamera SE hybrid. That'd be a ticket in the fast lane on that one.
Real fast lane.
Of course, the slow lane is the Prius and some of the Fords and stuff. So if you're a commuter and you like the HOV lane and you want to get rid of the blow-up doll, change it with a license plate and a new car.
I like my blow-up doll.
Now maybe the problem is you don't ride with yours in the car. Yours is a secret, or it was till now.
Highly inappropriate. We've got Mark, Chris, Max, and Bob, and we're going to talk to Mark in Scottsdale about a Lexus. What can we do for you, Mark? Hey, Mark, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we do for you?
Good morning. I've got a real easy one for you. I'm just looking for an audio repair shop that you guys have used and has a good reputation.
Well, I've got a great auto repair shop that I use. They did my car alarm in my Honda Element, and they also did my stereo because Element's not fancy enough to get one of those stereos that ties into your phone. So I wanted a Bluetooth stereo so I could talk while driving down the road and not see my wife broke down on the side of the road. Right. But I use Sounds Good to Me in Tempe, and they've been around, I know, at least 20 years. Mark and Dave, I don't know your name's Mark, but Mark and Dave Gracie are the guys there, and they great customer service because I had an issue. And I brought it back, and I know it was out of warranty, and they just took care of it. And I said, guys, I'm sorry, I know this wasn't a profitable thing for you. They said, profitable thing? You're our customer. And I just really liked that attitude. And they will absolutely bend over backwards to make things right for you and do a great job. So also be nice to them since they are good guys. We want to support those guys.
And we didn't ask Mark what the problem was with his car, so that'd be a good solution in South Scottsdale. If you're in North Scottsdale, I like Soundworks over at about 40th and Bell Road. However, those aren't the kind of shops that maybe fix his stock radio, and we don't know if that's the problem with your car is the stock radio. But Whitey's in Scottsdale, Air Park Auto Service up in North Scottsdale, they can fix those too. And when I say they can fix them, there's an exchange program. We all have companies we can pull those radios out and send them to the manufacturer or the company, the same places the dealer sends them to. The dealer doesn't fix them. There's a supplier that was probably made by Alpine or somebody like that, or VDO, and we can send those out, have them repaired or an exchange, and put it back in. So you may not necessarily need an audio shop. Your regular repair shop might be able to help you too.
Thanks for the call, Mark. 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We're going to go with Chris in Mesa on a 2006 GMC Yukon. Go ahead, Chris. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we help you with?
Hey, I got a couple questions for you. My wife, unfortunately, had to go to Utah yesterday, and when she got to Flagstaff, she called me and told me that the right rear wheel was locked up. What ended up happening was the brake pads were worn out, and one of the bolts that hold the caliper on had actually backed out. And one of them was missing and one of them was bent. My question is, we put 22s on it. So obviously the bigger wheels are causing those brake pads to wear out a lot faster. So what would you recommend as far as remedying that?
Sure.
And the other question is, she found somebody to take care of her last night. So they ended up charging her like almost $400 to do brake pads on it.
Okay.
Is that reasonable? Or?
Well, yeah. So two questions here. I'll start with the cost of the brake pads. We haven't seen the receipt, but I think this is a comment. $400 just for brake pads? Well, it didn't just put brake pads on.
Right.
That car came into the shop. If the wheel was locked up, they couldn't roll it. It was a pain in the butt to get inside. They got it in, took it apart, figured it out. They had to find caliper bolts. Probably one of them was bent. So I think $400. I mean, you pulled into the emergency room, and you got out pretty cheap, I think, for $400, especially if they did a brake job and got you on the road again.
Not completely out of, not out of line.
Not even close.
Right.
Not even close. I mean, just a normal brake job on the back of that. Usually the parking brake shoes are no good.
Especially if the brakes got hot and trashed the rotors.
$300-$400. Piece of cake, no problem. You got treated very fairly, I would say. I'd be happy.
What about his other question was, because I've got taller wheels on there, that's going to cause the brakes to burn out. And I don't know that I feel like that would be true. I mean, it's still you're talking about the same circumference of the wheel.
It's more weight. It's more the rolling mass is much higher. A lot more momentum, a lot more inertia is created with those wheels, and you will eat the brakes up. So,
is that true?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to take you to task on that later. I'm going to the internet. I'm going to find out if Matt's true or not.
Well, if you read it on the internet, it's right, Dave?
Right. It's got to be right. But really, the weight of the car is exactly the same.
It's the rolling. It makes
the rolling what?
It makes a difference. Dave.
I understand if I put 35-inch tires on my Jeep that. Oh yeah, right. I understand that now it's going to be harder to stop. But unless the overall diameter, we're not. I don't think we're talking about a whole lot more. But believe it or not, that caliper bolt thing coming loose is something we see at the transmission shop all the time, because one caliper bolt will come loose and then the brakes will flip up, the caliper will flip up and drag on the wheel. It sounds and the car seems like it's dragging and whatnot. We put it in the air and caliper bolt is missing or loose. That happens on brake jobs.
But back to his question, you didn't answer. Yes, I don't think you need to do anything but be more proactive with making sure you're having good brake job. They will wear out prematurely, and the car will not stop as well. There's companies like Bear Brakes that make a big brake kit. Dave and I are going to go tour a brake manufacturing plant over in Southern California in a few weeks.
We're going to ask them. Let's see what they know.
They know it because they make big brake kits. Centric, their C-Tech, or Stop Tech is their big brake kits. So they are out there. That's not the solution today, but if you've got big wheels and tires on your car, it definitely will go through the brakes faster.
You know what they say about guys with big wheels, big tires. Thanks for the call, Mark. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com.
Summer's winding down, Dave. It's back to school.
Yep. Check out my new Scooby-Doo lunchbox, Matt. Cool, huh?
Yeah, nice, Shaggy. And did you write your What My Car Did for Summer essay?
What? Is that due?
Join us Saturdays, 11 to noon, for Bumper to Bumper Radio on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
And for the best car repair and body shops you can trust, it's bumpertobumperradio.com. Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper Radio. World class and in your own backyard. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is just around the corner at 7th Street in Virginia. And for over 19 years, they've been recognized as one of the best auto repair shops in the country. Voted Best Auto Repair by AZ Central, A+ rated by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranty, and complimentary transportation to and from your home or office. Virginia Auto. They're serious about service. See for yourself. VirginiaAutoservice.com.
Bobby Jones said, golf is the closest game to the game we call life. You get bad breaks from good shots, you get good breaks from bad shots, but you have to play the ball where it lies. Hi, this is Greg Ellis for the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 on Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM, as we celebrate the great game with the biggest names, tour updates, interviews, and tips to improve your game.
Bunker to Bunker. Golf lives here.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family-owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you fix your car, find out how to get your car to the right shop, what to say, what to do. what's good recommendations, what's bad recommendations.
Did you just call me Mad Allen?
Mad Allen. You know, there was a bag of chips in the studio here the other day that said Matt Allen on them. It looked like your signature, and I still haven't figured that out. They were bacon and cheese flavored. Maybe, is that you?
No, I did see that, though. I guess Lay's is doing, they did a whole deal on the KTAR website about it. The taste, they had a pretty funny little video, all those bags of chips, and I guess you could submit. Well, it just turns out someone named Matt Allen submitted bacon and macaroni and cheese potato chips or something gnarly like that.
Sounds like something you would eat.
But it's no. But the signature, you know, it's just the Windows signature, whatever font that they convert to a signature. It's the same one that I've used on some newsletters and stuff. So it was pretty funny.
Matt Allen's Lay's bacon cheddar dip chips. We got to get to work. We always get nervous when we don't hear this in our shops.
God, blow my ears out.
I know. That's the sound of cars being fixed. If I'm not hearing that, something is wrong.
You know what that sound is to me?
Huh.
That's the sound of warped rotors because people aren't using torque wrenches to put the wheels on like they should.
That is very true. There is a right way to put the tires on it. We've got a text here, and it's very, very long, and this person can type on their phone faster than I could. I mean, it's like 700 words, so I'm kind of whittling through it. But he's continuing to have a bad tire here and a bad tire there. Sounds like they're becoming separated. And it makes me remember when I was 16 and I would take my mom's car out and I would lock up the brakes for fun. She was always going down to the tire store and they'd be like, my mom would be like, these tires are shaking. And they would say, oh, well, there's like flat spots on them. It has nothing to do with the tire. There's something going wrong. And she'd say, no, you know, there's something wrong with the tires.
I'm the only one that drives this car. She doesn't know her son sneaks out of the house at 1 o'clock in the morning when everybody else is.
And what I used to do in that car was it was a 92 Chrysler LeBaron, and I could get going about 45 miles an hour, and I could pull the e-brake, grab the wheel, and it made a perfect 180. I don't know how many sets of tires they warranted. They were very nice to her for a while, and they finally said, ma'am, you must have a teenager at home because these tires are warped.
A teenager who doesn't respect your car.
Not at all.
Well, that Honda Odyssey, it just, there's something, it keeps ended up with separating tires, and it doesn't make sense. The one thing I did notice, he likes to do some work himself. So in the tire store is the one looking at it. So maybe we need to make sure the car has got good tires on it, and then maybe it has already been, but get it to a shop that understands the front end, understands the steering, the suspension, can check the alignment, and see what's happening there. Maybe we're getting cheap tires, although I doubt it. Discount tire usually doesn't let you get into a tire that's not good for your car. And when I mean cheap, maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's just the entry-level tire. And the Honda Odyssey can be a fairly heavy car.
Yep, need a good tire.
Need a good tire. So start there, and then I think it really just needs to get to a real shop.
Right. Now, suspension wear can definitely wipe out tires. And, you know, you guys, you go to the shop and maybe they're offering you shocks or struts, something like that. I mean, some people just sell you anything just because you came in the door. But oftentimes, if you do have a bad, you know, shock or strut, that will wipe out a tire, make some real choppy or feathered wear. And it's going to look like, hey, we got tires that keep going bad. But when in fact it's a suspension issue.
It's something causing the tire. No fault of the tire.
Correct. So we've got Tony, Christine, and Bob. We're going to go to Tony in Glendale on a 2004 Dodge Durango. Tony, welcome to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Hi, it's Pauline, and I do have a 2004 Dodge Durango. I'm a new caller and listener also. I just moved to Arizona a few months ago. I went to go trade my truck in for something smaller, and it came back with a major oil leak. They took it in the back, and by the time I finished, you know, going through the process of trying to buy the car or wanting to buy the car, by the time I got it home, I got up the next day, and there's oil all in the driveway. It hasn't stopped. The oil, I did look. I had a neighbor look. The oil is at the bottom. There's nothing on the top of the engine. It looks like there's like an oil well or an oil pan or something, and it's running from there onto the ground. I guess next to where an oil filter would be or some other little gadget next to it.
So what you're saying, you're saying is when you went to the dealership to inquire about buying the new car, they were going to take this on a trade. They took it back to have a look at it to see what the value was. The deal didn't work out, and you got it back with a profuse oil leak. Is that what we're hearing?
Yes, exactly what I'm telling you.
Okay.
I took it there. I never had a problem with it. Never. I brought it here from California. We just moved. I do not know a mechanic. I do not know where to take it.
We got you covered. Don't worry. So you're in Glendale, Dave's Car Care. I don't know, where in Glendale are you?
I'm
Major cross streets.
I just moved here. I'm off of 43rd in Maryland.
Okay, perfect. 51st Avenue in Peoria. It's going to be about 3 miles north of you and a little bit to the east. 51st Avenue in Peoria, Dave's Car Care. He's been there 35 years. He's one of the Bumper to Bumper radio shops. You can find him at bumpertobumperradio.com. I think he is in Glendale or Peoria. Anyway, 51st Avenue.
He's on the border of both.
Yeah, he's right on the border. What you have to do, I understand it happened after they looked at it, but once after the dealership or the used car people took a look at it, we just need to find out what happened. Maybe it's just an awful coincidence. Maybe there was some malice there. We have no idea. You need to get an independent person to look at it.
See if there's any foul play. There may very well not be, and that's one of the tough things we face in our business because we take possession of someone's car and we fix something and we give it back to them. They say, well, my power antenna doesn't work. It worked when I came here. What did you guys do to my power antenna? And so I think it's instinctive as consumers to go there. What did you do to my power antenna? And it's an awkward situation for the auto shop as well as for the consumer because you know, quite frankly, I mean, the initial reaction would be you guys did something to my car. That's normal to have that reaction, but it isn't always foul play related, and many times it's not. Once we figure out what broke and how it broke, we say, oh, that's obvious. It just wore out.
And I don't know what Dave's charges, but Dave, what would Riccio, what would you expect someone to pay? I have an oil leak. It might be real obvious. So what? I mean, you're going to sign up for $50. It's going to be $50 probably to bring it in, take a look at it. They might look at it. And now we say that you have to know that going in, it's going to be $50.
Well, there's two ways to handle that. There's oil leak by trial and error. Some people don't charge for oil leak check. They say we'll start here, and we'll fix this leak, and then we'll fix that leak and fix that leak. And sometimes you get a bunch of stuff fixed, but what really needs to happen in an oil leak inspection, everything needs to be cleaned off really well.
Well,
maybe a dye added to the engine.
Well, hold on a
or
second. Time out, Dave. Let me stop in here. But in her case, this is a sudden leak to happen.
Right.
We probably don't need to do a dye test to find this bleeding wound,
massive head wound,
underneath the car that wasn't there. My point was, it's going to cost you $50. It might cost you nothing. They might pop it up and say, "Oh my gosh, the oil filter is loose. They were maybe checking something that's loose. We just cleaned it up for you."
Maybe they did a little Dukes of Hazzard with that thing.
Have a nice day. Welcome to the state of Arizona. We have a relationship now. Or the other case where you're talking about, Dave, with I just have an oil leak and it's perpetuated. I've had the car forever. Yeah, we need to do a dye test, find out where all of these different leaks are coming from. I'm just trying to draw the difference between the two.
Absolutely. I understand. We'll deal with it later.
Yep. So anyway, Dave's Car Care, 51st in Peoria. If you're in Glendale, that's the place to go.
Thanks so much for the call. We're going to go with Christine in Scottsdale on a 2010 Dodge Caravan. Go ahead, Christine. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I have had this van for about 2 years. It was previously a rental, just to give you some background. It has 93,000 miles on it. I have always had little problems here and there, but for the last few months, while I'm driving, the car just stops. I mean, everything turns off, and I have to, coast to the side to get it to a full stop, restart it, and it doesn't restart right away all the time. And I can't come up with a pattern. I've taken it to a Goodyear place. I've taken it to a dealership. They both did diagnostics. There was a recall that I thought was going to solve everything, and it still is dying while I'm on the freeway. So that's not too safe for me and my kids.
That's a little nerve-wracking. What would you say the frequency? You said there's really no pattern yet, but is it happening once a day or once a week?
It could be twice a day, and then it won't happen for 3 days. And then it'll be once a day. I would say probably 3 times a week. Yeah, probably about 3 or 4 times a week.
Is it day?
And the not starting happens every other time. But when I took it to the dealership, they had no problem starting it apparently.
Well, here's what I think. I don't think I think you said a Goodyear store. Probably not the best place to have that kind of problem diagnosed, Dave. What do you I mean, I think you can find some people very capable in a tire shop like that setup, but an intermittent problem.
Tough problem.
That's diagnostic. There might be a good guy at that store, but that's not really what they do.
Right.
The dealership, for example, I bet that there's 4 people that start that car before the technician ever gets to it. They have a lot of tenant pull from the thing, the back to the front. They have the porter or the greeter meet you. They've started it once or twice, and by the time the technician gets to it, it always works fine. I think a good independent repair shop like the ones you'd find on the website, Bumper to Bumper Radio, and then I think I'll let you go there, Dave, but if it happens maybe once every 3 days, you need to decide that you're going to get rid of this car and give it to them for 3 days to look at. Get into a rental car if that's what it takes, and let them experience the problem and figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's got to happen. You can't tolerate a car that's just dying in flight going down the 202. I mean, that's a major problem. If you were in the left lane in 5 o'clock traffic, I would want to be there. So we've taken these little steps. We've gone here and we've gone here, but there's a point because intermittent problems with no code sometimes are the worst things to chase. We're lucky if we got a code on something like that because that gives us at least a starting place to go to. So give it a shot because it is a matter of safety. Find some alternate transportation for 3 days and get someone who's, if they need to take it home, let them take it home, to figure it out so it happens to them because they're going to be more they're going to know what to do with it when it does happen. So anyway.
It's time for Fact or Fiction.
What was that, Dave? You're pointing at me. I love I don't love it. It's funny. You're just always you like that little production you did when we first started.
I hardly know how to work this thing, but I sure try.
So am I doing Fact or Fiction?
You're doing Fact or Fiction today.
I don't. Some of these are just so I don't know, but we'll go for it because there's a lot of this is goofy. So I was told that you can take the battery cable off while the car is running to see if you have a bad alternator. Fact or fiction?
It is totally a fact. I would totally agree. You can absolutely do that, and that was a good idea back in 1983, 1990, maybe even.
1976?
Yeah, that worked. That was a quick on your way to church, battery light on, take the battery cable off, see if it runs type of situation. That's a car that was lucky if it had one module in the entire thing. But nowadays, and I've seen this happen, guys, you pull off the battery cable and try something like that. You send an arc through the system and blammo, you kill a couple of $1,000 modules. Is it really worth it to do something like that? Not on the modern car. And the one thing that we go over again and again and again on this show is that the rules have changed. This was great information back in the day. I remember my grandpa telling me about this, when I was 10 years old, that you can do this. So absolutely it will work, but you don't want to do it.
Well, and the whole theory behind it, if the battery was bad, you've disconnected, you've eliminated the battery from the circuit, so the alternator or the generator is charging and supplying the power. Now they can't put out that power because there's so many modules. So yeah, absolutely. If you want to line some computers up and blow them up, go for it.
Well, we got a real patient Bob on the line, then Jake, and maybe time for one more call at 602-277-5827. We'll be right back.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Is your love of golf driving a wedge between you and the missus? Wigwam Golf has just the solution. Introducing the Couples Golf League this summer. Bring your better half for a night on the links with other couples. For just $30 per couple, you and yours will enjoy 9 holes and a beverage every Thursday at 4 o'clock. Play all summer and qualify to be named the season's champion couple and take home the grand prize. What's not to love? Visit wigwamgolf.com for more information.
Hi. This is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com.
My pappy said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we got to get to an ever-patient Bob. So we're going to go Bob in Tempe on a 1994 Mazda pickup. What can we help you with, Bob?
Well, my pickup is the patient. Hello?
Yes. We're talking about being patient because you were patiently awaiting to get on the air.
I have a Mazda pickup with 250,000 miles on it, and transmission seems to want to not shift well when it gets warm. I've disconnected the lines from the radiator and put on the biggest cooler that I could get, and it's fine in the cooler weather, but as soon as it starts warming up, it doesn't want to shift very well.
Can you specifically relate it as far as the shifting? Easiest thing for me to point out is, okay, it's doing its thing. You're at a red light, light turns green, take your foot off the brake, put it on the gas, and you start accelerating. At what point do you feel like there's an issue? Is that at 10, 20, or 30 miles an hour?
Probably 10. It seems like it shifts to another gear, but the bigger issue is reverse. It doesn't want to pull it backwards very good. It almost kind of shakes.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's real warm out, when you take it out of park and put it into low, it kind of takes a while for it to grab. But when it's cool, it works great. There's no problems with it. And I flushed the system completely, pumped all the fluid out, and put new Merc 4 fluid in it.
Well, I don't believe I know you added a cooler because you think maybe the thing's getting too hot, and therefore if I add a cooler to it, it's going to keep it from getting too hot. But one of the things that happens with transmissions is they'll absolutely behave differently based off the operating temperature. So it may be running at the normal 170 to 190 degrees and be having the issue just because the oil is so thinned out. I mean, it's changing its characteristics with the thing warming up. And we may start to be having a valve that's bypassing in the valve body that is causing this issue. So we can add a cooler to it, and we can flush and have as clean a fluid as we want, but that's not going to fix the worn-out valve.
It seems like the cooler, it just prolongs till the temperature gets to the temperature it's going to get anyway.
Yeah, it would,
but normal.
Which is normal. So it's once it gets up to normal operating temperature, we're starting to get a bypass. You know, we got the modern transmission fails for an internal hydraulic leak. The fact that you're getting a chattering reverse, not a good sign. We're starting to have a drum with an issue in there.
Well, and you know, Dave, the do-it-yourselfer kind of, you know, Bob sounds like he's a very capable person under the hood. He's added a cooler, and there's certain things, you know, screwing in spark plugs, doing certain jobs are great do-it-yourselfer jobs, but when it comes to a transmission, there is so much at risk there. I don't work on cars every day, but my guys that work on cars every day don't work inside transmissions. So if you have a transmission problem, it's worth the drive to maybe go a little bit further to a shop that can check things out. And Tri-City Transmission in Tempe is one of those shops. It's worth going to it because the average person, even the above average person, I should say, has no business inside of a transmission. Most technicians, even the ones in my shop, don't have any business inside that transmission. And that's where you need to get to a transmission shop.
Matt calls me every so often and says, hey, here's what's going on with this car. Should we touch it? No. Don't touch it. Or, yeah, you guys could handle that over there.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's things he can and things he can't. So we're going to go with Jake in Tempe on a 2000 Chevy 1-ton pickup. How can we help you, Jake?
I've got a service engine soon light on my dash that I cannot get off. I've gone to a garage, you know, they plug that little machine in and they tell you it was a camshaft sensor. We replaced that. We replaced the distributor. We replaced the timing chain. And that light still, it clears, but as soon as you turn the ignition back on again, it just pops right back on again.
Well, I would just take the bulb out. No.
It actually works pretty good. No. This is a great question, and I think everybody can, if you're listening, that check engine light when that comes on is an error message, and we all know that we can get the local Acme Auto Parts or whatever it is to plug into it and scan it. It's not necessarily going to be the answer. I would say the later model of the car, the closer it's going to be, but it's still just the first step. So, hey, we saw that we've got a light in relation to the cam sensor, so therefore we went and replaced the cam sensor. By the way, the auto parts store carries those cam sensors.
Well, and that's where, Jake, I almost want to try and bring him back on because he said, we took it to a shop, and they said this. And then he said, and maybe this is just me paying too much attention to the words. They said this, and we did X. That's where it breaks down. Don't go get it diagnosed and then come over here and you fix it and there's something going on. If they diagnosed it or they did the test and then they made the repair and then the light comes back on as soon as you leave or shortly after, it's because they didn't test drive it long enough to go through the readiness monitors and go through the system self-test to make that come back on. And so if you're going to have a repair done, let them own it. Let them test it. Let them tell you what it's going to be.
Give you the cause and the confirmation all in one shot. And if it doesn't fix that, now every now and then a shop will say, hey, here's what we think it is, but it's just an educated guess. The diagnosis can be worse than the cure. Would you like to guess with this piece with us? And you guys may decide and share the responsibility on the guess. There's nothing wrong with that in some cases. But if a shop says, this is what it is, it's going to be $1,500 and we'll get it taken care of for you, and they spend $1,500 and it's not fixed, well, now we got to unwind the clock. We got a big problem because I just invested a bunch of money that I don't know that I needed to spend.
And then sometimes there are cases where, you go, depending on the different manufacturers, there's very simple things. I might just say, just test this. Test that. Did it, it's got a flow chart. Did this happen? Yes. Okay, go here. Okay, try a new computer. There's really no diagnostics. There's really no very thorough test. And so sometimes it is okay for the shop to say, this is what we've got to do. We know this is bad. There may be more, but we're going to start here. I looked at your cam sensor with a lab scope. We know here's the pattern.
The waveform is great,
or it's
not good. So we got to replace it because it's a known bad part. So we got to install a known good part, and then go to the next link in the chain. So sometimes we're going down a trouble tree, and we did step 1, 2, and 3, and the next step 4 is to do this, and then it's 5, 6, and 7, and then could be do this. So replace this and continue testing is in some instances the way it needs to go. But back to my point is just the code is not the answer. I think you're going to go in there, I got an O2 sensor code. Hey, we happen to carry those. Would you like an O2 sensor? Sure. So you buy all 4 of them because they didn't tell you which one it is. You put them all on, and you still got an O2 sensor code, and it's really a lean code because there's a vacuum leak. That code diagnostic issue can really get you off track.
Right. And for me, diagnosis implies a conclusion. There are certain series of tests that need to be done, and simply getting a code doesn't do it. We've got to go through those tests, and those take time to do.
Thanks for running the dials, Bree. Thanks for joining us. If you're looking for a good, competent, honest shop, bumpertobumperradio.com. Matt and I put them there because they're great. We'll see you next week.